Hello guys, I just wanted to talk about situational runes in general, situational items you should buy, right? For example, as Victor, at level 1, which item should you buy? Doran's Ring or Corrupting Potions, right? So usually Corrupting Potions will be better against long-ranged matchups such as Serat. Generally champions that gonna poke you a lot and you need constantly that mana and HP sustain, and also it provides a little bit of damage as well, the Corrupting Potion itself. Now Doran's Ring is usually better against melee matchups because it's written on the item itself, restores 1 mana every second, damaging an enemy champion increases this amount by 1.5, and on melee champions it's easier to get more procs, and also here's the other reason why you get it, so you have more damage in general against melee champs, right? Now, your boots options and your mythic option, right? Oops, that's a misclick. So, for example, as a mythic, right? Ludenseko or Liandry. Liandry is usually anti-tank, it's written on the item, but it's not necessarily anti-tank. It's not necessarily anti-tank because, for example, Swain is not a tank, but he can stack over 3k HP, right? Same as a full AP Cho'Gath, it does not have to have an AP build for you to build Liandry. There are some champions like Sylas, he likes to have lots of HP, but he does not build any type of magic resistances, which is also really good for the burning side of the item, right? So it's not specific anti-tank. I would say it's specific anti-high HP enemy champion because it scales with max health, and this passive also scales with bonus health, right? So it's usually good against high HP champions, not specifically tanks, right? Okay. Now Ludenseko, when do you get Ludenseko? Usually against squishies you want to get Ludenseko. The movement speed can be really valuable because usually you want to combine it with Sork shoes as well, right? So usually you want to get it when you value the movement speed as well from it, so you can like chase better sidestep abilities. The mobility can be really valuable, and also as Viktor it's kinda easy to actually reset the Ludens, especially when you have the upgrades and more cooldown in general. Now the other things, cooldown boots. When do you get cooldown boots? So your summoner spells can be quite valuable to use them defensively, and also cooldown boots is generally better with Liandry's Torment to reproc more abilities, which means more DPS in general. Then, when do we get Void Staff? When do we get Shadow Flame? Right? So here's the thing about Void Staff. Void Staff is specifically good as an anti-tank item. Usually as a second item it's most of the time bad. The problem with it deals 40% magic penetration, which early on is not so valuable as a second item. So generally, Zanye is an option as well, right? So for example, Zanye is extremely good against champions like Zed mid lane, Kiana mid or jungle or Rengar, right? There are lots of champions that get turbo countered by Zanye, right? And there might be multiple champions that Zanye counters in the enemy team, and also Stopwatch is a really good item component from the Zanye itself. Really good against Tryndamere as well, 100%. So you can get Zanye if you wanna go defensive, and also it gives you a big chunk of armor, and it's really cheap. The activatable is insane, the item is really strong, and it's really cheap. It's definitely a good item. Now what else can we buy? Let's sell these. Now what else can we can go more offensive, so if you feel like you want to snowball, you can get also Shadow Flame, that's totally fine. But usually, as I do believe, let's turn off minions as well, just like that. Pointing here, here. Okay. So this is like a full combo. It doesn't show the damage for some reason. Maybe because I'm in base. I just bugged, I guess. So usually, like, if you can get multiple rotations of Lich Bane off, then Lich Bane can be more valuable, but Shadow Flame is good in an all-in combo if you are looking to one-shot people, right? Or if you are looking to poke with your E in general without getting an auto attack off, right? No, what alternatives do we have? We can also buy Rabadon, which can out-damage, which can definitely out-damage the Shadow Flame, 100%, but here's the downside of it. It's more expensive, and also that's it. Actually it's more expensive, but usually it's better. So if you want to wait with it, you can also get Rabadon second, that's totally fine. The only way you get Shadow Flame if you are looking to snowball, because you can generally get the item faster than the Rabadon, right? Then, third item, you can decide between Void Staff if they stack too much MR. If you need a Zanye to survive burst, you get Zanye. If not, we can greed for Reverence, right? But our second item choice can be also flexed into a Cosmic Drive. Now when do you wanna get Cosmic Drive? It's really definitely a good item on Viktor. Gives you a big chunk of movement speed, which you can continuously keep on if you have enough cooldown, right? Which means that you can spam your abilities much more faster. You get 100 for AP when you trigger the item itself, and a lot of movement speed. And that's really valuable if you have a lot of skill shots perhaps, or you're looking to kite or to chase better. So usually for kiting and chasing, that there you go. It's really good against a lot of melee champions in general, right? But it's also good against some type of mages that you want to run down. But usually they will position too well for you to proc Cosmic Drives, like a Serat or Vel'Koz table generally position too well, so it's hard to proc Cosmic Drive on range champions. Except if you have a Ghost or you get an all-in angle, then maybe, but usually it's better against melee champs. Okay, now Horizon Focus is an early, it's bad to get as a second item, you should usually get it only later on, at some point. Okay, so let's get back to the items. Void Stuff, optional item, right? Zanye, optional item. Then usually later on it's better to get Lich Bane because it scales with AP, right? But for example, Shadow Flame doesn't scale with AP, right? So this is like a standard build, right? And now Lich Bane does 345 per auto attacks, and you can also like switch it up with Shadow Flame. You can also get a Dark Seal if you feel like you're gonna get early kills into Magi. That's totally fine if you are looking to snowball. I mean, there are many like item options you can generally follow. Then again, situational runes. Let's talk about situational runes. This is so on Viktor you can mostly get first strike, Comet maybe, and didn't try it. Comet first strike, Comet first strike, phase rush. These things are on my radar. When do you get first strike? First strike is usually better against melee matchups, but it's definitely fine if you get it against range ones. Against some of them, because Viktor can generally proc first strike faster with his E than anybody else can, because it's really hard to avoid this spell, right? It will generate you gold, which means you can get your items way faster. Then Phase Rush. Phase Rush is usually better against hard engagers, melee champions. It's good against Cassiopeia as well, just because how sticky she is, right? It's good against Cassiopeia, definitely. Then again, it just provides us anti-slow, right? And mobility. So usually you want to get that if you lack escapes, right? Usually you get it to escape, actually. So that's the simple explanation. 80 is not something I would recommend. Comet maybe, it's good in the early game to outpoke your opponent. It's better at poking than first strike, I assume. But I'm not a big fan of going for it. I would just rather go for strike to scale better, but depends. If you can be in your early game, just because you went for Comet, then I assume it can be fine, right? If there is a matchup that you can abuse early on. If not, just get first strike. Okay, that's it for now.